Hi everyone, let's continue lecture 5 or chapter 8 of the textbook about push and pull production control systems or MRP and just-in-time. We had section 1 of this chapter previous week, so this week we are going to have section 2, and this is the first part of the pre-recorded videos of this week. On the course map, we are still on chapter 8, and we're going to complete this chapter this week by having section 2 of this chapter. This is the agenda of this section 2 of chapter 8. At first, we'll have the MRP terminology, and then we'll see what are the lot sizing rules, and then based on that, we'll have an example, and then we'll see what are the alternative lot sizing rules or schemes. We will have these methods: the silver meal heuristic, the least unit cost heuristic, and also part period balancing. Okay, so after having these methods, at the end we'll have a discussion about the shortcoming of MRP, and then we will move on to just-in-time by having an introduction to just-in-time, and then Kanban system, and then advantages of just-in-time, and at the end an introduction to lean production systems. Okay. As you remember, in section 1 we had an example for MRP calculations. So as you saw there, we learned how we can calculate the gross requirements, scheduled receipts, gross requirements, and then consider scheduled receipts and current inventory in order to calculate net requirements. And then by considering the lead time, we obtain the time phase net requirements, and then at the end we obtain our plan for order releases. Okay, so as you remember, we considered lot for lot sizing rule or policy in our previous example in section 1, but we have two more rules or two more policies here. Fixed order quantity, FOQ. If the demand over the planning horizon is constant, then we can consider this rule, and we can obtain the economic order quantity as our fixed order quantity by EOQ model. And the second one, or the third one actually, the third one is a period order quantity, POQ. In this policy, we consider a number of periods ahead that we are going to cover those periods of those periods demand by ordering now. So at each ordering cycle, we consider a number of periods that we are going to cover those periods demand by ordering at this point. So this is called period order quantity, and we had lot for lot. So we have three policies or three rules for lot sizing: fixed order quantity, FOQ, period order quantity, POQ, and lot for lot, L4L policies. Let's have an example here to show how those policies work in an example. Toy rockets launcher. So let's explain the components and the structure of this product in a bill of material, BOM. Yeah, as you see here, the first level or top level, which we call it as level 0, includes the end item, the product here, and the lead time for assembling the end item is 1 week here. In the second level, which it's level 1 actually here, we have three components, B, C, and D. As you see here, we need two items of B, one item of C, and two items of D in order to assemble product A. And the third level, or level 2 here, we need 2 items of D in order to build or assemble part B. This is our BOM, bill of material, and the lowest level coding here, since part D are the same part here we have in 2 levels, so we just bring down that D here in order to have D in 1 level. So as you see here, in total we need 4 items of D for producing 1 item of end product. Okay. The MPS, master production schedule, for our product shows that we need 150 at week 1, 200 at week 4, 150 at week 6, and 200 at week 8. Okay, and the other conditions here for part A, which is our product, actually here the lot sizing rule is lot for lot. The lead time will be 1 week, and the inventory on hand at the beginning of the planning horizon will be 260 items. For B, C, and D, we have the data here. So let's go through the planning process. For part A, the gross requirement, as we had in our MPS, we need 150 at week 1, 200 week 4, 150 week 6, and 200 week 8. Okay, and there was no scheduled receipts, but we have 260 items as our inventory on hand at the beginning of the planning horizon. This means we have 260 items at week 0. So at week 1, we need 150. We have 260 in the inventory, so there will be no need for production, and the inventory at the end of week 1 will be 110, and we'll have 110 in inventory up to week 4. At week 4 we need 200, we have 110, so the net requirement for week 4 will be 90, and the rest numbers will be the same. So this is our net requirement for our product, and since the lead time is just 1 week, so we go 1 week back in our time schedule. So we need to actually start producing of 90 items at week 3 in order to have 90 items completed for week 4, and so on. Okay. The POR, planned order release. So POR means planned order release. Here our policy or rule is lot for lot. So we set the production amount exactly the amount that we need at that time. So here the net requirement for week 3, considering the 1 week lead time, is 90, so the order for production will be again 90 as well. Okay, so this is lot for lot policy. For product B, as you see in the BOM, we need 2 items of B for producing 1 item of A. And as you remember in our previous slide, we had the plan for producing A. As you remember, it was 90 at week 3, 150 at week 5, and 200 at week 7, right? So since here for each A we need 2 items of B, so we need to multiply these numbers by 2 actually in order to have our gross requirements for part B here. So this is how we calculate this row as our gross requirements for part B. Again, as you remember, there was no scheduled receipts or inventory on hand for product B. So the net requirement will be again the same as gross requirements here. So we have this row here. So here our lot sizing rule is fixed order quantity. So our batch order should be 500. So and the lead time is 1 week. So at week 3 we need 180. So we go 1 week back, and here we start production or purchasing. Since the rule here is fixed ordering cost and the fixed ordering quantity, and the fixed order quantity is 500. So the planned order release will be 500 at week 2 here. So at week 3 we will have 500 in inventory. We need 180. So at the end of week 3 we will have 320 in our inventory, and this will remain up to week 5. At week 5 we need 300. We have 320. So 20 items will be remained in our inventory at the end of week 5. So again, we are producing 500 at week 6. We have 20 items in our inventory, so we will have 520 for week 7. We need 400. So at the end of week 7, 120 items will be in our stock, and it will remain for week 8 as well. So this is our plan for part B. For part C, as you see here in the BOM, we need one item of C in order to produce one item of A. So the gross requirements for part C will be the same as net requirements for part A. And we're supposed to have 80 items as our on-hand inventory at the beginning of planning horizon. So we have 80 items at week 0, so we'll have 80 in weeks 1 and 2 as well. At week 3 we need 90. We have 80 in inventory, so we will need 10 more to satisfy our demand. So this is how we calculate the net requirement here by considering the inventory on hand. So in our net requirements, we need 10 items of C at week 3. And the lead time is 1 week, so we need to go 1 week back and start producing of C in week 2. But the lot sizing rule is fixed order quantity of 300. So we need to produce 300 items here. And end inventory at the end of week 3 will be 290 because we need 10. We will have 300, so 290 will be in our inventory at the end of week 3, and it goes up to week 5. We need again 150. We have 290, so we'll have 140 in our inventory at the end of week 5. At week 7 we need 200, but we have just 140 in our inventory, so we need to produce more items of C. Again, the lead time is 1 week, so we need to start production at week 6. Since the lot sizing rule is a fixed order quantity, so we set production amount of 300 at week 6 here. And so at week 7 we will have 440 items, and we need just 200, so 240 will remain in our inventory at the end of week 7 and week 8. For part D, we need part D to produce items B and A. For part A, as you remember, we need to produce 90 items of A at week 3. 150 at week 5 and 200 at week 7. This is our plan for A, okay? And since here we need 2 items of D to produce 1 item of A, so we need to multiply these numbers by 2 to have the gross requirement of D for part A. For part B, we are supposed to produce 500 items of B at week 2 and 500 items of B at week 6, right? And again, the need of D for producing item B is 2, so we have to multiply these numbers 500 by 2 again, so we will need thousands of D at week 2 to produce 500 items of B, right? And the same for week 6. So this is how we calculate the gross requirement of part D. And we're supposed to receive 900 items at the end of week 1, and we will have 120 as on-hand inventory at the beginning of our planning horizon. So we will have 1,020 items of D at the end of week 1 in our inventory. So we need 1,000 at week 2. We have 1020. So at the end of week 2, we will have 20 more items of D at our inventory. At week 3, we need 180, we have 20, so we need to produce 160 more in order to satisfy the demand of week 3, okay? And the rest numbers will be the same as our net requirements. So for production, the lead time here is 2 weeks, as you see here, 2 weeks. And the lot sizing rule is period order quantity as 2. So this means for the lead time, we need to go back for 2 weeks in our production schedule or time schedule. And the lot size for production will be the demand of 2 periods ahead or 2 weeks ahead here. So as you see here, we need 160 items at week 3 and 300 at week 5. So as the 2 periods ahead, we need actually 460 items, right? So because of 2 weeks as our lead time, we need to start producing 460 in week 1. So this 460 will cover the demand of week 3 and week 5, okay? So for week 6 and week 7, we need 1,400. So because of 2 weeks of our lead time, we need to start production of D at week 4 again. And the production amount will be the sum of demand for 2 periods ahead. So here is 1,400, okay? So by having this production schedule and the inventory on hand and scheduled receipts, the end of inventory will be calculated as the last row here. So this was our actually detailed example for MRP calculations. In the next part of this lecture, we will see more about the lot sizing rules. Okay, thank you.